Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Good day and welcome. I'm Joey and this is Orange D20. Today we're going to be talking about side quests for your tabletop RPG. This is going to come up a lot more if you're running a narrative style game. If you're moving through a specific story arc, anything that doesn't relate directly to that story arc is generally going to be something of a side quest. If you're running a sandbox game, everything and nothing are side quests. The story is about finding more about the world, and if that's the narrative, every quest you go on is contributing. So the first type of side quest I want to talk about is when you run an adventure session that isn't moving the master narrative forward. There's a few reasons you may choose to do this. Maybe the next plot point you're about to hit is vital, and you're missing too many players from the session. You're stalling for time until you have enough of those people back to move forward. On TV, we'd call this a filler episode. You put the major story on hold, but you still want to play. This can very much be to preference. I'm currently running for two groups. When players are missing from one group, we keep playing with their main characters and look for something more minor we can do in the world. Their side quests aren't always completely unrelated to the main plot. Sometimes they decide to go back and look into something related to the plot that they didn't fully investigate earlier. They've gone to see what was in the villain's stronghold, or scouted out the Underdark, or gone to secure an ally when they were missing too many players to confront their enemies head on. Another group I run for decides to put the campaign on hold when people are away. We generally play some other game like a one-shot, or we hang out and do something non-RPG related. I tend to play RPGs with people who are friends outside the game. One of the things I've heard from my players is they like that we always get to the end of my campaigns. You know what happened to your character and how the story resolved. Part of the way I ensure this happens is to keep up the game rhythm. This means everyone's used to meeting up on that particular night, and any time that the game can move forward, it will. You don't stop hanging out, and the game doesn't vanish, and you're left to wonder a few months down the road, what would have happened? If you want to complete your campaigns, forming this rhythm is vital, and that's a good reason to use side quests. Another type I've seen is when the players aren't quite ready to move on to the next point of the plot. I avoid this by mechanically building the game session just before we go to play it. So if the players aren't a high enough level, it doesn't matter because I haven't built it yet and I just build the adventure for a lower level of characters. Another way I might handle this is just saying to players, you've reached level 12 so that we can move on with the adventure. This is very much to taste choice, and a lot of players and GMs might prefer to actually go through and play those levels. I won't run a side quest just to help players level up, but I will run it to give them a chance to look around the world more, see stuff not related to their main story arc, just broaden their horizons within my setting. The other type of side quests I tend to include are what I would call subplots. If you're watching a TV show, an episode often has what's referred to as an A story, the most important thing that's happening, and the thing that is moving everything forward. Then there can be a B and a C story. On TV, you cut away to see what's happening with the B and the C stories. But in an RPG, you don't want to split the party that often, so this tends to take on a bit of a different form. I include these subplot side quests to deepen my story. So if the main plot is that the party wants to try and assassinate the Drow matron mother before her armies can attack the Empire of Solaria, that's my main plot. Any subplots need to be able to happen alongside that plot in a similar location and in a similar time frame. One style of this subplot can be to add tension. This could take the form of, as you prowl through the spire, you are nearing the matron mother's chambers. You hear anguished cries and a ragged voice call out from below. A raspy voice calls out in Solarian, "No! Please no more!" This makes players choose between their original goal, the ambush of the Drow matron mother, and risking that to attempt to save the prisoner down below. We could kill our enemy, or we could go rescue an innocent. This can take a bunch of forms. Instead of appealing to their heroism, you could ask them to choose between their original goal and greed. There's great treasure over there. Relationships, protecting or impressing someone they care about is in contrast to the goal. Or information. If you kill me now, you'll never know where the dire warlock is hidden. Basically, it is a side road you can choose to go down. And it says a lot about the characters on when they will step aside from their main goal and go pursue something else. For heroes, they'll go rescue the innocent. If you're showing someone is not yet at that level, having greed distract them is a great way to deepen that character. In this time pressure situation, what's most important to you? What will you give up to achieve your goals? And what lines will you never cross? Another type of subplot is to increase immersion or exploration. If, as the players in the previous example were about to assault the spire, Magus Kikra comes and tells them, "My diviners have found that the Book of Exalted Deeds is somewhere in the spire. It would help us greatly if you could retrieve it." The difference between this and the tension builder is when that information shows up. The matron mother isn't holding the book out of the window to save her life and make them choose. Instead, as the players head through the spire, they will make all their decisions with this potential sub-goal in mind. They are more likely to explore, to check places they don't need to be, to find this additional objective. This can be anything that the characters want: wealth, power, information, rescuing prisoners. Or it can be to prevent something they don't want. They want to destroy a super weapon, disrupt a dark ritual while they're there, poison the food supply so their enemies can't march their armies. They have a reason to explore further, to find out more, and while this can eventually converge with the tension building style, it's broader from the very start. You can also look at an intrigue side plot. This could take the form that as they move room to room through the spire, they come across a priestess of Lolth alone, who says, "Wait, work with me. I will lead the matron mother here alone, and we can finish her together. I've no interest in your kingdom, and when I take her place, I would be happy to sign a peace treaty." You offer the characters an alternative way to potentially complete their goal. It should be something that is easier if everything goes correctly, but has more risk if it doesn't. Maybe the scouts have found a damned river of lava, and if you release it, the tower will be in disarray, and if the matron doesn't flee, she'll be dealing with the disaster. Maybe it is someone who offers a reason not to complete the stated goal, giving them a reason to sabotage, whether it's the original quest giver lied to you, and if you deliver that package you will burn the summoner's village to the ground, so throw it in the river and warn the summoners instead, or some villain is holding something ransom and asks you to purposely fail in your mission or they'll harm those you care about. This is a lot like the tension raiser, but instead of having to choose between two options in that time-sensitive amount, it's who can we trust and who do we believe? It tends to be a bit more introspective and test the relationships of the characters both with the world around them and with each other, and can reframe some of the villains. The last type of subplot I tend to use is a character-related one. When I ran the game I described above, this is the one I actually used. The Drow have been referring to Rhea, daughter of Nun, a Drow renegade from another world, as the Chrysalid since she first arrived, and the players don't yet know what they're referring to when they use that title. Gabe assumes that she's Lolth's unwitting avatar. Rhea assumes that they want her for some very specific sacrifice, as they keep trying to capture her alive. Every interaction with the Drow is a chance for her to learn more about what they want. There's also increased risk if she's captured by them and they get closer to whatever their dark purpose may be. This is the type of side plot I use most often. I recommend looking at your characters' backgrounds, even talking to them, mining them for information. Ask them what they're looking for. Are they trying to solve a personal mystery? Are they looking to find something or maybe protect something? Make some part of your adventure personal. You can outright ask your players, what part of your backstory would you like me to include in the next adventure? I've had people ask for their personal villain to enter the plot, for them to have more information about their great mystery, for them to interact with some important figure, whether it's a hero, a family member, or a love interest, or give me something that makes the adventure just overall better because their stakes are raised and there's a new complication based on it that makes it just a better story overall. There are games that have this built right into their mechanics, like GURPS or Buffy. You can take disadvantages for your character to make them more powerful, but it means that your chosen enemy might show up, or you have a code of honor that will come into play and force you to make a difficult decision. You might have a love interest that you need to protect, or will cause problems right at the center of the story. These are excellent things to mine for your plots, and if you're playing Buffy correctly, you absolutely need to be exploring these side plots or people won't get the drama points they need in order to succeed. In D&D, you want to know the flaws, bonds, ideals, and traits. Maybe select an individual character and choose one of those from their list and use it for the subplot of your next game. If someone has chosen the trait, "I am always polite and respectful," have them interact with a belligerent old witch to test this. If they don't insult the witch and stay true to their trait, she ends up giving them some magical item. But if they offend her, she sicks an extra encounter on them, loosing her minions. If someone has a bond, "I'm guilty of a terrible crime and hope to redeem myself," at a vital point in the story, have them come across an opportunity to stop someone else from committing a similar crime. If someone has the flaw, "I will sacrifice almost anything for knowledge," have a chained demon in a room who offers them a great secret if they'll release it. If they do, the demon disappears instantly to cause more problems for the party down the road. You end up getting built-in subplots from those choices. If you keep cycling through your players, you'll keep finding new ways to make your stories more complex, and they'll be more engaging to your players because it will speak directly to how they design their characters. The main goal of a subplot is to deepen your story. It keeps the game from just being a straight line from point A to point B. It introduces more choices, makes your world more dynamic, and makes the whole place feel more alive. Don't overload your story with these subplots in a narrative game because you don't want to lose the plot, but you want to use them to highlight different aspects of your villains, to examine your characters more, and to show off your setting. In a sandbox game, put in as many subplots as you can find and see where they take you, because in the sandbox, no plot is a subplot. All plots are just plots. Alright, thanks for watching this video. If you get a chance, give me a like or a subscribe. Otherwise, have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
Ba-bam, 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 ba.